There's someone living inside you, someone you know exists, someone you think about late at night. But every morning, you pretend they don't exist. You know exactly who I'm talking about. The person you could be, the person you're afraid to become. This is the story of a man who spent years running from that person until one day he couldn't run anymore. His name was Arjun, 28 years old. On the outside, he looked fine. Job, friends, normal life. But inside, a different story. Every night before sleep, he'd think about the person he wanted to be. Disciplined, focused, someone who didn't waste time, someone who took action. But every morning, that person disappeared. He'd hit snooze, scroll for an hour, promise himself tomorrow. And the cycle repeated, day after day, month after month, year after year. He wasn't living his life, he was watching it pass. The worst part? He knew it. He knew he was pretending to be okay with mediocrity, pretending he didn't want more, pretending that someday would actually come. But deep down, he was lying to the one person he couldn't escape, himself. One evening, his younger brother came to visit. Energetic, ambitious, full of plans. "I'm starting a business," his brother said. "I'm tired of waiting for life to happen." Arjun smiled. "That's great." But inside, something broke. His younger brother was becoming the person Arjun had only dreamed about being. That night, he couldn't sleep. He thought about all the things he'd planned to do, the skills he wanted to learn, the goals he wrote down and forgot. All of it still waiting, still untouched, still someday. He opened his old journal, pages filled with plans from 2 years ago. Start working out, never happened. Learn a new skill, never started. Stop wasting time, still wasting it. Every page was a promise he broke to himself. And suddenly he felt it. Not sadness, not anger, shame. Deep, quiet shame. Because he wasn't failing due to lack of ability. He was failing because he was hiding. Hiding from effort, hiding from discipline, hiding from the person he knew he could be. He was pretending to be someone smaller, someone weaker, someone who just wasn't ready yet. But the truth, he was always ready. He was just afraid. Afraid that if he tried and failed, he'd have no more excuses. So he never tried at all. The next morning, something unusual happened. Walking to work, he saw a man sitting on the street, old, worn out, holding a sign. "I used to be someone." Arjun stopped. He gave the man some money. The man looked up and said, "You know what the saddest part of my life is?" Arjun shook his head. "I spent my whole life pretending I'd start living tomorrow. And now, there's no tomorrow left." The words hit like stones. Arjun stood there, frozen. The man continued, "I wasn't always like this. I had dreams, big ones, but I told myself, not yet, not ready, someday." He looked directly at Arjun. "Don't be me, son. Don't wait until someday becomes never." Arjun walked away, but he couldn't shake those words. That night, he sat alone in his room, and for the first time in years, he asked himself the one question he'd been avoiding. Who am I pretending not to be? He closed his eyes, and he saw that person clearly. Disciplined, focused, someone who didn't make excuses. That person was real. That person existed inside him. He'd just been pretending they didn't. That night, Arjun made a decision. Not a big declaration, not a promise to change everything overnight. Just one small decision. He opened his laptop, started the online course he'd bookmarked 6 months ago. Not because he felt motivated, not because it was easy, but because the person he wanted to be would do it. The first week was hard. His mind fought him. "You're tired, start tomorrow." But he didn't listen. He did it anyway. Week 2, his old habits tried to pull him back, scrolling, procrastinating, finding excuses. But something was different now. He wasn't fighting those habits with willpower. He was choosing a different identity. Not, "I'll try to be better," but "I am the person who shows up, even when it's hard." Slowly, things changed. Not in his circumstances, in his mind. He stopped seeing discipline as punishment. He saw it as proof. Proof that he was becoming the person he'd been pretending not to be. And every small action, it wasn't just a task. It was evidence. Evidence that he was real, that he wasn't pretending anymore. 3 months later, his younger brother visited again. "You seem different," he said. Arjun smiled. "I stopped lying to myself." Here's the truth most people don't want to hear. You already know who you want to be. That person isn't some distant dream. They're inside you right now. You feel them when you promise yourself you'll change. You hear them when you set goals you never follow through on. You see them when you lie in bed at night wishing you were different. But every day you pretend they don't exist. Because becoming that person requires something uncomfortable. It requires you to stop hiding, to stop making excuses, to stop waiting for the perfect moment. Discipline isn't about motivation, it's about identity. It's about asking yourself, who am I pretending not to be? And then becoming that person, one choice at a time. Not someday, not tomorrow, today. Because the longer you pretend, the harder it gets. And one day, you'll run out of tomorrows. So let me ask you, right now, in this moment, who are you pretending not to be? What would that person do if they stopped hiding? You already know the answer. The question is, will you finally stop pretending? Or will you keep waiting until someday becomes never? The choice is yours. It always has been. If this story touched you, hit like, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more stories that matter.